The message notification chimed as I was reviewing a client proposal for the third time that evening. I didn't check it immediately. The Bradford account was worth 6 figures to my marketing consultancy, and I needed to make sure every detail was perfect. Only after I'd sent the proposal did I pick up my phone to see what my family was discussing in our group chat. Mom, Dad, and my brother Tyler had been unusually active today. I scrolled up to catch the beginning of the conversation, my eyes scanning casually until a particular message from Tyler caught my attention. When do you think we should tell Allison about selling the house, or should we just wait until it's done? My house, they were talking about my house. I frowned, reading more carefully now, scrolling through dozens of messages they'd exchanged while I'd been working. She won't notice if we move some money from her investment account first. She never checks it anyway, my mother had written. The family ATM strikes again, my father's response followed by a laughing emoji. Remember when she paid for my car repairs last month? I told her it was $3,000 when it was only $800. She didn't even ask for a receipt. Tyler again. My hands began to shake. What was I reading? I kept scrolling, nausea building in my stomach. I got her to sign that power of attorney last week. She didn't even read it. Said she trusted me, my mother. Now we can handle everything without her getting in the way. Perfect. Allison's always been too trusting. That's why she's so useful to us, my father. I set the phone down, my mind unable to process what I was seeing. The family I'd supported for years, paid for Dad's medical bills when he lost his job, helped Mom renovate her kitchen, covered Tyler's rent when he was between opportunities. They were plotting to steal from me, to sell my house out from under me. The family ATM, that's what they called me. My phone buzzed again, a new message from Mom. Oops, wrong chat. Allison, honey, ignore all that, just family jokes. Too late, I'd seen everything. They were planning to sell my house, Sarah, my own house. My voice cracked as I paced back and forth in my best friend's office. Sarah Lane was not only my closest friend, but also one of Denver's most respected attorneys. Let me get this straight, Sarah said, leaning forward at her desk. Your mother had you sign a power of attorney document. Yes, I replied, dropping into the chair across from her. She said it was just in case anything happened to me, that it would help her manage any real estate issues if I was unavailable. I fought back tears of anger and betrayal. I trusted her. I trusted all of them. Sarah's expression hardened. Do you have a copy of what you signed? No, but she does. It's probably on her computer. She's always saving important documents there. Allison, Sarah said firmly, we need to move quickly. First, we're revoking that power of attorney. Today. Second, we need to secure all your accounts and property. And third, she paused, we're going to document everything they've done. I nodded, determination replacing the hollow feeling in my chest. What do I do about the group chat? They've been blowing up my phone with excuses. Don't respond yet. Screenshot everything. We need evidence. Sarah grabbed a legal pad. Start from the beginning. Tell me every financial transaction you've had with your family in the last 5 years. Every loan, every gift, every time they asked for money. For the next 2 hours, I recounted years of financial support I'd provided to my family. The emergencies that always seemed to arise when I received a bonus. The temporary loans that were never repaid. The joint account I'd set up with my mother to help her manage her finances that somehow always ended up empty. I feel like such a fool, I whispered. I wanted to help them. I thought that's what family did for each other. Sarah reached across the desk and squeezed my hand. You're not a fool, Allison. You're a good person who was taken advantage of by people who should have protected you. What now? I asked. Now, Sarah said, her eyes gleaming with determination, we fight back. The next morning, I was at the county clerk's office filing paperwork to revoke the power of attorney. The clerk, a woman named Hannah with kind eyes, processed my papers with efficiency. All set, she said, handing me my copies. This revocation is effective immediately. Thank you, I replied, feeling a small sense of control returning. As I was leaving the building, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, is this Allison Reeves? This is Marcia Jenkins from Denver Premier Realty. I'm calling about the listing agreement for your property on Aspen Drive. My blood ran cold. I'm sorry, what listing agreement? The one your mother and brother brought in yesterday. They said you were out of town but had authorized them to list your home. They had the paperwork." Her voice trailed off uncertainly. "Ms. Jenkins," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady, "I have not authorized anyone to sell my home. That listing is fraudulent." There was a pause on the other end. "Oh dear, they did have a power of attorney document, which was revoked this morning," I replied. "I would appreciate it if you would cancel that listing immediately and provide me with copies of everything they submitted to you." "Of course, Ms. Reeves. I'll email you the documents right away." I called Sarah as soon as I hung up. "They've already tried to list my house," I said without preamble. "Sarah, we need to move faster." "I've drafted the cease and desist letters," she replied. "And I've set up a meeting with Detective Collins at the Financial Crimes Unit for tomorrow morning. Bring all your bank statements and those screenshots." That evening, as I was gathering documents, my brother called. I let it go to voicemail. "Allison, what the hell do you think you're doing?" Tyler's voice was slurred with anger. "Mom's crying because of you. You can't revoke that POA. We're family, for Christ's sake. You always think you're better than us just because you make more money. Well, guess what? You owe us, after everything we've done for you." He continued ranting for almost 2 minutes before hanging up. I played the voicemail for Sarah the next morning. "Perfect," she said. "More evidence of intent." Detective Collins was a serious woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She listened carefully as I laid out the situation, examining the screenshots, bank records, and the voicemail. "This is clear-cut financial exploitation," she said finally, "and the attempt to sell your property using a fraudulent power of attorney crosses into criminal territory." She looked at me directly. "Are you prepared to press charges against your family members?" The question hung in the air. Was I? These were the people who had raised me, who I'd shared holidays and celebrations with. My mother, who had held my hand on the first day of school. My father, who had taught me to ride a bike. My brother, who had once been my childhood confidant. But they were also the people who had plotted to steal everything I'd worked for, who had seen me not as a daughter or sister, but as an ATM to be drained. "Yes," I said firmly, "I want to press charges." 3 days later, I received another voicemail, this time from my father. "Allison, honey, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. We were just joking in those messages. You know how Tyler gets carried away sometimes. Please call us back. Mom is beside herself with worry. We're your family. Whatever Sarah's been telling you, she's just trying to make money off you. Please, sweetie, let's talk this out as a family." I forwarded the message to Sarah and Detective Collins without responding. That evening, there was a knock at my door. I checked the security camera to see my mother standing on the porch, her face tear-stained. "Allison, please," she called through the door. "I know you're in there, just 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." I didn't open the door. Instead, I sent a text. "All communication needs to go through my attorney, Sarah Lane. Here's her number." 3 weeks passed. The investigation progressed. Detective Collins found evidence that my family had been planning this for months. There were emails between them discussing how to maximize returns from my assets. Bank records showing unauthorized transfers from the joint account I had with my mother. Even a consultation with a real estate attorney about how to quickly sell property obtained through a power of attorney. They were thorough, Detective Collins told me, but not very careful about covering their tracks. I threw myself into my work, grateful for the distraction. My clients needed me, and focusing on their marketing challenges helped keep my mind off the betrayal. My colleagues noticed the change in me, quieter, more focused, less likely to leave early for family dinners or events. "Everything okay, Allison?" my coworker Lisa asked one day after a meeting. "Family issues," I replied, not wanting to elaborate. "Ah," she nodded sympathetically. "Those can be the hardest. If you need anything, even just someone to grab a drink with, I'm here." Her simple kindness almost broke me. I thanked her and retreated to my office before she could see the tears in my eyes. 4 months into the legal battle, my family made their most desperate move. They filed a countersuit against me, claiming I had promised to give them my house as a family property, and that I had emotionally manipulated them for years. "This is actually good news," Sarah told me when I showed her the paperwork. "They're getting desperate, and this document is full of provable lies." "They claim I promised my house to them at Christmas last year," I said, my voice hollow. "I wasn't even in the state last Christmas. I was at a marketing conference in Chicago." Sarah smiled grimly. Exactly, and we have your flight itinerary, hotel receipt, and conference registration to prove it. 2 weeks later, we were in court for a preliminary hearing on their countersuit. It was the first time I had seen my family in person since discovering their betrayal. My mother looked smaller than I remembered, her usually immaculate appearance slightly disheveled. My father avoided my gaze entirely. Only Tyler glared at me openly, his eyes full of resentment. Their attorney, a slick man in an expensive suit, presented their case with practiced sympathy. The Reeves family has been torn apart by misunderstandings and miscommunication, he told the judge. Ms. Reeves has taken innocent jokes out of context and used them to harm the people who love her most. When it was Sarah's turn, she was methodical and devastating. Your Honor, the defendants claim my client promised them her home during a Christmas gathering she did not attend. They claim financial hardship while taking luxury vacations funded by unauthorized transfers from my client's accounts. They claim emotional manipulation by a daughter who has financially supported them for years while they plotted to steal her assets. She presented document after document, evidence mounting like an avalanche. By the end of the hearing, my family's countersuit was dismissed with prejudice. The judge's words to their attorney were scathing. Counsel, I suggest you advise your clients of the penalties for filing frivolous lawsuits and perjury. Outside the courtroom, Tyler tried to approach me, but Sarah stepped between us. Not another word, she warned him. Any communication goes through me. That night, alone in my house, the house they had tried to steal, I felt the first real sense of peace in months. They couldn't hurt me anymore. I wouldn't let them. The criminal case moved more slowly than the civil matter, but 6 months after that first shocking discovery, we reached a settlement. My family would avoid jail time in exchange for 1. Full financial restitution for every dollar they had taken from me over the years. 2. A public written apology admitting to their actions. 3. Legally binding agreements never to contact me again. Are you sure about the no-contact order? Sarah asked me the day before the settlement was to be finalized. It's permanent, Allison. I thought about it one last time. Was I ready to cut all ties with my family forever, the people who had once been my whole world? But they weren't those people anymore, or perhaps they never had been. The loving family I thought I had was a fiction, a performance designed to keep the cash flowing. I'm sure, I said firmly. I want them out of my life completely. The next day, the settlement was finalized. My mother cried as she signed the papers. My father looked decades older than when this had begun. Tyler refused to meet my eyes. Their public apology was published in the Denver Post the following week. We, Catherine, Richard, and Tyler Reeves, publicly apologized to Allison Reeves for our actions. We systematically exploited her financially, attempted to defraud her of her property, and betrayed her trust. Our actions were calculated, sustained, and inexcusable. We acknowledge the harm we have caused and accept full responsibility. It was over. They were out of my life, legally and emotionally. 1 year after discovering that group chat, I stood on the balcony of my new home in Boulder, watching the sun set over the mountains. I'd sold the Denver house, on my own terms for a good profit, and moved to a place with no memories attached. My marketing consultancy was thriving. I'd even hired 2 new people, including Lisa, who had been such a quiet support during the worst of the legal battle. Beautiful view, Sarah said, joining me on the balcony with 2 glasses of wine. It really is, I agreed, accepting the glass she offered. Any regrets? She asked gently. I considered the question. Did I regret losing my family? Yes, but I had lost the illusion of a family, not the reality. The reality had been much uglier than I'd ever suspected. No, I answered honestly. I regret that they weren't the people I thought they were, but I don't regret protecting myself. Sarah raised her glass. To freedom. To freedom, I echoed. Inside, I could hear the laughter of the small gathering of friends I'd invited to my housewarming. Real friends. People who valued me for who I was, not what I could give them. I took a sip of wine and felt a sense of profound clarity. The family that had raised me was gone, but in their place I had found something just as valuable, myself, strong, resilient, free. No longer the family ATM, just Allison, and that was more than enough.